I'm going to start with the first technique that I'm going to share with you. And it's a very powerful technique, and it's based upon your physiology. Now, I think we're probably all familiar with the concept of mind-body connection. If anybody not heard that phrase, stick your hand up, because I don't want to move forward. Okay, mind-body connection. Basically, you cannot separate yourself from your mind. Where you go, it goes. Where it goes, you've gone. Because you can't separate yourself out. But there's masses of evidence to show that your mind affects your body. So the thoughts you have, the things you're saying to yourself in your mind, the experiences that you're recalling affect your body. And here's an extreme example that we've probably all seen on the cinema. When he gets mad, he turns into this. But it works the other way around. So the mind's affecting the body, but the body affects the mind. And anybody who's done any exercise whatsoever can probably confirm for themselves that when you exercise and do physical activity, you feel better, not just physically, but mentally. You start to think more positively, unless it was a killer session and you know. But generally, when we exercise, it actually does our mind some good. So this mind-body connection is very important. And it's crucial because it controls your physiology. It controls your performance soup. And that is the chemical mix that's going on in your body every moment of the day, your entire life, that is either helping you or hindering you. Call it performance, call it high state, call it hot state, call it whatever label you want. But basically, it's the fact that your body chemistry responds to how your mind is working and how your body is feeling. So a very powerful technique for helping you to control your own physiology and to change that chemistry in a way that's going to be useful to you is a thing called power posing. Some of you may be familiar with this. If you are familiar with any of the topics I'm covering today, please keep an open mind, because you just might hear something that's a little bit useful to you. Okay, so keep that mind open, because learning is always a good thing. Power posing. So what is power posing? Well, power posing is when you are adopting a posture of power. Now, this is something that all animals do, and we are a form of animal, although I don't want to debate that point. We're a form of animal. And in the animal kingdom, anybody who's ever watched a documentary about survival or anything like that will have seen that animals use different postures depending on their needs. So if an animal's threatened, it might make itself bigger. If an animal's frightened, it might make itself smaller, and so on. So posture is a big thing, and we all use it. And here's a famous posture person. Anybody not know Usain Bolt from the sports world? This is his most iconic power pose. And that's not just something that's got him a load of branding and a load of sponsorship and all that. That's a message he's given out to his competitors. That, hey, I am the man, the one to beat. He's power posing. But look at this top one. Interestingly, that is a common reaction to winning in sport, isn't it? In track. We've all seen that, you know. An interesting fact about that is, are you aware that even blind people do that who have never seen it? Never seen it. So how do they know to do it? How do they know to spread the fingers? How do they know to adopt that pose when they're winning? And it's because it's natural. It's natural for us to adopt different postures depending on how we're feeling or what experience we're having. And the power posing is used in all areas of life. And here's a couple of examples. The top picture here is a power pose, and known as a high power pose and a low power pose. These two politicians, whose names have absolutely no interest to me whatsoever, but you may recognize them. You tell me who's got the power pose in that picture. You know, she's pretty clearly giving a message to this other guy. And look at the other guy's posture. He's quite clearly giving a submissive message back. So in that particular experience, it's quite clear who's got the power. And they're exercising that power. The lower picture is demonstrating what are known as low power poses. Low power poses. And we often see people sat in this kind of position. You're waiting for a tube or whatever, you know, and you're feeling, I can't wait for this tube to come. And your physiology is reflected in your posture. But because the body and mind are linked, the longer you stay in one of these postures, the stronger the change will be in your body chemistry. And a social psychologist called Amy Cuddy, and if any of you are familiar with TED.com, TED Talks, if you want to go to TED Talks, there's a great 10-minute video on power posing, and which is where the centre picture and this chart have come from. And Amy Cuddy has found that by adopting a power pose for just 2 minutes, your testosterone level increases by 20%, which is your performance chemistry, and your cortisol drops by minus 25%. 25% drop in your cortisol. Cortisol is your stress chemistry. So simply by adopting a powerful pose for 2 minutes, you will completely change your performance soup into a higher performance soup. The opposite of that is if you adopt a low power pose for 2 minutes, the opposite happens. Not to quite the same extent, but as you can see from this chart, your testosterone drops 10% and your cortisol increases 15%. So these people who are sat here, who are feeling stressed about something, are increasing their stress every second that they sit there like that. And quite often, probably naturally, you've probably experienced that if you just get up and walk around a little bit, you actually start to relax a bit. Oh, I was fed up of waiting. You get up, you start walking around. You've changed your posture, which immediately starts to change your chemicals mix inside. So the first technique I want to share with you as a way of you controlling your physiology while trading or before trading or after trading, when you need to change the way you're feeling, is to adopt a power pose. Now, Amy Cuddy has shown from her research that if you do this for 2 minutes a day, after a month, there are significant increases in performance at work, in sport, in life, because your body gets used to being in that performance state more and more. And it was mentioned earlier today about developing habits, trading habits. By developing the habits of adopting powerful poses when you need it, your body knows what a power performance feels like, and it's easier and easier and easier to put yourself in it. So in the context of trading, for example, before you start trading, put yourself in a performance state. While you're trading, if things are going wrong and you start to feel yourself getting that kind of reaction, use a power pose. So let me demonstrate to you how we do this. But before I do, there's an expression. Amy Cuddy uses this, and I've heard it in other contexts as well. If you don't think this works, it doesn't matter. Just try it. Fake it to make it. Because the mind-body connection will make it happen. If you think about something, your body will react. If you feel something, your mind will react. If you don't feel so good, you'll think negative thoughts. If you feel great, you'll think better thoughts. If you think good thoughts, your body will change to reflect that. So the whole thing is entirely linked. Can't not be, unless you take your brain out and put it somewhere else. So what I'd like to do as the first exercise is encourage you all to stand up, if you wish. And this is very easy. The characteristics of a power pose are very easy. So what I'd like you to do is stand with your, and most of you are starting to do it already, feet shoulder width apart, toes turned out, just slightly turned out. So just a relaxed position, okay? I want you to pull your shoulders up, so none of this, because that's negative posing. Pull your shoulders up, put your fists on your hips, and you might need a bit of elbow room around you, otherwise you're going to elbow the person next to you. And lift your chin slightly and look up. And I'm going to ask you to hold that position, and as you hold that position, I'm going to just do it for 1 minute. As you hold that position, I want you to be aware of how your body feels. Okay, so connect with your body and just hold that pose, keep your chin up, looking up. If you want to think pleasant thoughts as well, go ahead, that's always nice. But just hold that position and become aware of how your body feels. Just maintain that position. This is a power pose. Very straightforward, very easy to do. Just hold that position. Just enjoy the position. Enjoy it. It's a very natural thing. Okay, thank you very much. Just sit down for me. And let me ask the question, who feels different now than they did before they stood up? Check in with yourself. Does anybody feel more relaxed? You're probably all very relaxed after that lunch. Does anybody feel a little less stressed? That was only 1 minute. Anybody feel any change at all? You don't have to be afraid to admit it if you did.
Yeah, definitely change, I would say.
Did anybody feel the body changing? Because quite often when you get used to this, you will feel the chemical change. You will feel it going from that negative, if there is a negative chemistry in there, change into a better one. You'll start to feel things change. And I notice after doing it for a while that 20 seconds and I can really feel the change occurring. After 20 seconds I can feel it changing. But it starts straight away. Now that's the first technique I want to share with you. Very easy to do. Now if you did that for 2 minutes before you sit down to trade, you're going to be in a performance state. You're going to be more relaxed and you're going to have your, if you like, performance abilities switched on simply by doing that. Now you can also do it sitting down. And when you look around this room, you will be able to identify the power poses simply from the characteristics of you're occupying more space, you expand your body, which we did by doing this, head high rather than down. Now let me do the opposite with you. This might, no, maybe I shouldn't do this. If you adopt a low power pose, if somebody wants to try this, do, but I don't want to leave you in a negative state. But a low power pose would be to sit like this, put your hands between your legs and just drop yourself down. If you want to try it and hold there just for about 20 seconds and you will feel the difference. You will feel the difference almost immediately. Somebody's nodding their head. Have you just tried that? And immediately you start to feel a bit, don't you? Not the fact that you're just squashing your lunch like, but... So when people sit or stand in low power poses, they're not just standing in a posture that's not very healthy, they're changing their chemistry into a poor chemistry. Your performance soup no longer gives you the performance that soup should. Okay. Any questions about that before we move on?
Not a question, but an observation.
Okay, yeah.
That pose which we did, the power pose, I think got the mind going as well. I can do it. You begin to feel superior.
Okay. Anybody else feel like that? Anybody else notice the mind changing, more positive thoughts occurring?
I would say capable.
More capable, yeah, which is more positive. You know, if you feel more capable. Anybody else want to share? Share your thoughts if you want, because it helps the whole group. Helps me as well, because I'm learning as well as you are, you know. Breathing deeper, right, and that's the expansion part. You've opened up your lungs, you've opened up your chest, just simply by putting the hands on the hips. You're not crushing everything.
I actually felt that because I was doing nothing, standing there, the mind was free to think about other things, and it thought about positive things.
Ah, interesting, okay.
That was the chemistry, or whether that was just I was standing there trying to work.
Well, I did actually plant that in your mind as well. I did say if you want to think about positive thoughts, there was a little bit of auto-suggestion going on there. But the point was, it would have done that anyway. It would have done that anyway. If we'd have kept in that position for another minute, say, the 2 minutes, it would have done that. You would have all started to feel it. It takes different amounts of time for different people to connect with it. But as I say, once you've been doing it a while, you'll probably feel it within 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and you'll feel the difference. So any of you that are in stressful situations, stressful jobs, stressful trades at any time, think about this and use it. And if you don't sort of connect with it, fake it to make it. Just try it. Okay?
Should you be, you know, if you're in an interview type situation, should be sort of...
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you what, let me just... Yeah, perfect. I was teaching this technique to a group of unemployed youngsters in Malaga last week as preparation for work interviews. And if you go into if you were the interviewee and I came into the room and I sat there like that, are you going to hire me? But if I come into the room and I adopt a more confident, so this is a power pose. I'm occupying more space. Yeah, I'm over-exaggerating it, but obviously, you know, but it's certainly somewhat better than this, you know. But this is what happens. People go in, the nervousness produces the posture, and they don't perform, and they don't give a good impression. So absolutely, 2 minutes before any important event, I'm quite happy to power pose. You know, go in the loo, stand there in front of the mirror, giving it all that. Don't worry, I'm not a weirdo, I'm just power posing, you know. But if you use it, you'll benefit from it.